All right, my loves, good morning. So, I want to share with you a little bit about what I experienced yesterday. And just so you know, about 30 minutes ago, I had a really powerful emotional release, and my body shed a bunch of stuff as well as it does. And it was just like a bunch of held up in stuff needed to go. Okay. And literally, I feel like I was just holding it in for like the last since like 4 p.m. yesterday. Okay. So anyway, it cleared out, came out, powerful emotional release, and here I am. Okay. And so I just want to remind you that when you have emotions moving through, when you allow them, okay, it'll move through quickly, like 20, 30 minutes, maybe even less, maybe even like 3 to 5 minutes, and you're on with your day. Okay. So we no longer need to sit in our emotions all day or in our head overthinking all day or in just like our woe is me all day. Okay. We can move through it and get on with life really quickly. And I want to remind you of that. Okay. Because that used to not be the case for me. And the other thing that I want to share too, there's a lot of thoughts this morning. So just bear with me, please. Is like, I read this post yesterday on Domestic Violence Month because it's like awareness of Domestic Violence Month. Okay. My overthinking and my mental health was the worst when I was in an emotionally and mentally and verbally abusive relationship with someone who was gaslighting me, who was lying, who was manipulating, who was being so incredibly deceptive. Okay. That was and I will say, years prior, I had been in something that was also physically abusive. Okay. So those two times, but I will say that the one that was not physically abusive and was mentally, emotionally, verbally, silent treatment, the gaslighting, the really fucked up stuff, that's when my mental health was absolutely the worst. Okay. The impact that that had on me was so traumatic. There's another word trying to come in. Um, yeah. Anyway, it was so harmful to me. Okay. And I want to be so clear on that. And I will be sharing a lot more of those details as time goes on. Because there are many other people, and I will not just say women, there are many other people that are still stuck in those scenarios, in those relationships, in those dynamics. So it is really important to get the education and our lived personal experience of what that was out into the world. Okay, so there's that. And what I will also say after that is that this morning I was thinking so much about love. Okay. And not thinking about it, but like feeling into it. There was this beautiful sky. Nature was so beautiful. Like I am completely in tune, in love, synced up with nature. Okay. But what has been the hardest for me in this lifetime is my human relationships. Okay. And I can be really hard to deal with at times. And I know that. Okay. And I also want relationships in the way that I want them, meaning the way I mean that is with um, clarity and depth and connection and playfulness and so much fun. Because this is what I've realized is people love going deep with me because they really can't do that with many other people. Not many people hold the depth that I have. And I know that, okay, or are able to go to the depths that I've gone to. And so people always want to go deep with me because that's like what they can do. You know what I mean? But, and what the side that they can't do well with me is then the playfulness side, is then the childlike awe and wonder, is then that. Because again, they don't have anyone in their life they can go deep with. So they always want to go deep with me. And for me, when I'm with people, that's when I want to play. That's when I want to dance. That's when I want to have so much freaking fun. Okay. And that is one of the greatest assets that I bring to the table. And sometimes I forget it, my loves. Sometimes I get so incredibly serious about this life, about, oh my God, did I do it wrong? Did I fuck something up? Did I mess it all up? And then a hummingbird, like yesterday afternoon, appeared and said, enjoy the lightness of this life. Like, you're flirty, you're playful, like bring that everywhere you go, no matter what. Okay. So huge reminder there. But what I wanted to say on love, and this is probably a completely separate video, but hopefully you're capturing the messages that are here for you, is like, if you never experience soulmate love in this lifetime in the form of an actual relationship, I'm sure you have met a soulmate or two in this lifetime. Okay. One of my most significant partnerships in this lifetime was literally my dog. Okay, so much love. We had so much love for one another. I remember going out with a man one time in Colorado and him going, you don't even need anything else other than your dog. Because he saw my dog and I, like, together, we all went for a walk. And he's like, you don't really need a man in your life, do you? Or you don't really care if you have anything else in your life other than this dog. And I was like, at that moment in time, I was like, yeah, you're right, you know? And I also know that I have prevented some of my soul growth by not leaning into relationships with other humans who are in, I would say, the old soul category. Okay. And I love the young souls because they're like, how do I want to describe that? They're like totally in the matrix and they're having so much fun. But I also see how they struggle and how they don't see like the sunrises, the sunsets in the same way that I see them. Okay. Like, yeah, they're just like, I'm trying to think of how to say young souls. They're just going through the motions of life a lot, busy being busy, moving here, there, and everywhere. And if you sit back and just watch them, it's really, really funny. It's really funny. But the problem is sometimes as old souls or older souls, we get caught up in that because we're like, I don't know what the frick I'm supposed to be doing here. I don't know how to navigate this, especially if you haven't really been around souls that are as dated as you are. Okay. Again, just nobody's like better than or whatever. Like, oh my God, to be a young soul again, how fun. Um, but as an old soul, we have a certain level of responsibility here. And when we're not owning that fully, or in the depth and the experience of who we are fully, we feel it. We have so much freaking struggle because we are not aligned with our soul, or we are denying parts of ourselves. Okay. And that's why we've struggled so much in this freaking life. Got it? So stop all that shit and literally like align with your heart, your spirit, your soul. Okay. You cannot deny the truth of your soul, my loves. Okay. I used to have a hard time saying, like, I'm an old soul. I'm a fucking old soul. Okay. But the problem is that I would live like an old person. I'm not an old person. Okay. But my soul, because it was old, then in the physical world, I brought that energy to the physical world, not what I was supposed to be doing. Okay. Although of course we crave peace like no other. Of course we crave the quiet and the stillness, but you cannot hide away for the rest of your life in that. Okay. We are like, so many of us are not called to hide away any longer, although some of us still want to. Okay. But it's so much fun to get out in the world too. Where am I going with all this?